Hi, I'm Kyle. I prepared a story called Book, which made by me. This is basically a story about a book. You can find a meaning in a story. I'll start the story. Book by Kyle.
There's a small bookstore in an alley near my office. I first discovered it 3 months ago. I was walking during lunch break and happened to see it. A two-story bookstore with a worn door called Books and Comma. I wondered if a place like this could survive in times like these, but that day I just passed by. A week later, it was raining. I hadn't brought an umbrella and was taking shelter under an eave. It happened to be in front of that bookstore. I hesitated about whether to go in, then opened the door. With the sound of bell jingling, the smell of books rushed over me. A distinctive scent of old books. The inside of the bookstore was bigger than I expected. Bookshelves connected like a maze, and in the corner sat a worn sofa. Welcome. A woman who looked to be in her 40s greeted me from the counter. I nodded awkwardly and walked between the bookshelves. As I was looking at books, I heard a rustling sound. I turned to see a cat on the sofa. Gray fur, green eyes. It looked at me and yawned. That's Book. A voice came from behind me. It was the bookstore owner. Pardon? The cat's name, Book. Oh, it was a strange name, but I suppose it made sense for a bookstore cat. The rain stopped after about 30 minutes. I left without buying anything. The owner didn't seem to mind. After that, I occasionally stopped by the bookstore during lunch. Not to buy books, but just when I wanted to rest. When eating with people from the office felt exhausting, when I wanted to be alone but cafes were too noisy. The bookstore was always quiet. There were hardly any customers. Just me, the owner, and Book, the cat. One day, I was sitting on the sofa reading a book. Book came over and sat next to me. I wondered if I could pet her and reached out, but Book dodged. Instead, she sat right next to me. As if to say touching was not okay, but sitting beside me was fine. Book doesn't like people, the owner said. Oh, really? But strangely, she goes to you. It's the first time. I looked at Book. She was pretending to sleep with her eyes closed. After that, whenever I went to the bookstore, Book came to sit beside me. She'd dodge if I tried to touch her, but always sat close. It was a strange sense of distance. About a month later, the owner brought out coffee. "It's on the house, since you come often." "Thank you. But is business okay?" I wondered if I'd been rude to ask, but the owner smiled. "We're not going under. I run an online bookstore on the second floor. The physical store is just a hobby." "I see." It was my husband's bookstore. After he passed away, I took it over. I didn't know what to say. At first, I was going to close it, but there's Book, the cat I mean. Book was still pretending to sleep beside me. She's a cat we raised together with my husband, and there's nowhere else to keep her. So I'm maintaining the bookstore for now, because of Book. The owner returned to the counter. I looked at Book, the cat. She opened one eye slightly to look at me, then closed it again. 2 months passed. I continued to stop by the bookstore from time to time. Sometimes I bought books. Mostly, I just sat on the sofa and laughed. Sometimes I'd chat with the owner, sometimes not. Book was always beside me. One day, I went to the bookstore and the door was closed. There was a note stuck to the glass door. "Book is sick, so we're at the hospital. We'll open tomorrow." I stood there for a while looking at the note. Then I turned around, thinking I'd just come back tomorrow. The next day, the bookstore was open. When I opened the door and went in, the owner was sitting at the counter. She looked tired. "Hello, is Book okay?" The owner nodded. "Her kidneys aren't good. She's getting old. They said we need to give her medicine and monitor her." "I see." I went to the sofa. Book wasn't there. She must be resting at home. A week later, Book returned. She looked a little thinner than before, but still came to sit beside me. I carefully reached out my hand. Book dodged it as usual. But she stayed close to me. "Book is getting old too," the owner said. My husband was the same way. When he was sick, he wanted to be near people, but didn't want to be touched, because it hurt. I looked at Book. She had her eyes closed. I could hear her breathing. "Someday, I'll have to close this bookstore too," the owner said matter-of-factly. "But not yet, because Book is here." That day, I bought a book. Snow Country by Yasunari Kawabata. A book I'd been meaning to read for a long time. "This is a good book," the owner said. "Please come often. I think Book likes you." I left carrying the book. Walking down the street, I touched the book's cover. The rough texture, unique to old books, felt against my fingertips. I think I'll miss it when it's gone. I mumbled quietly and carefully put the book back in my bag. I don't know how long the bookstore will last, but if I go to the bookstore tomorrow, book will be there. That is all I know.